Oh man, circuit boards are so beautiful. They look like little towns. Oh, they do though. I mean it, man. The way I like to when I sing sometimes or when I talk, I like to put in those little breaks to make it sound like a record is skipping. You know, ah 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 oh oh da ah ah da da ah. That's my little. That's a little Roger Waters type thing. I'm trying to sound like him when he does his inhale screeching. I love it when he does that. By the way, when he goes like, or like, it's like something like that. That really sounds good to me. Like that's got some power to it. Like I've never heard. I mean, that's some like screechity, screechity screech. Like that's the good stuff. I'm gonna plug in my computer, okay? Da da da. I was thinking about the fact that like war it's terrible and I'm against it, but I also kind of looked at it a different way for a moment. I thought of it like who else would take out the human population in that like mass other than ourselves? Like it's needless, but I get it. Let me explain, please. Please let me explain. So innocent deaths are horrible, but like when you really look at the big picture, like it's like population control because we've got birth control and stuff like that, but not everybody has access to it. And it's not reasonable to like well it is and it isn't, but like I feel like war is like a population control because people just can't really control themselves or they don't have the luxury of controlling their sexualities and stuff like that, their desires and stuff. And also people kind of just sexualize unsafe sex, which I've always found dumb and stupid, but like I've also always found war dumb and stupid, and here I am somehow weirdly defending it. And like that I still find it wrong and I would rather have world peace, but in the meantime, like damn, it kind of works like that, doesn't it? Like you could at least see it that way. I'm not literally defending it, but I'm explaining it. Like that's kind of how I look at it, or at least that's how I'm looking at it right now. Like I fucking hate it, and what I really hate almost more than the death is like everything else, like all the trauma of the families and the trauma of the survivors, because that's some of the hardest stuff I could ever imagine. I've seen some videos. Yesterday when I was at school, I saw a video about World War II, or maybe, well, World War One and World War II, but I saw like the trauma that it gave people, and that shit terrified me. I could almost, and I just mean barely here, I'm just saying barely, I could see myself in the survivors. Like, I empathized with them because I have trauma. It's not nearly as bad, obviously, but I'm saying that, like, I could put myself in their place just a little bit, and it was terrible. It was horrible, and I hated it. And, I think it's disgusting and sad. I don't know. Yeah. It's sure bleak, but I'm glad there's no more drafts. I mean, I feel like I heard from someone somewhere that like drafts could hypothetically come back. Like there might not be anything technically preventing a draft from occurring again, but like they're currently turned off. That's the impression I got, but I literally don't know if that's true or not, and I'm very sorry. I don't want to give out misinformation, so any viewers who are curious about that, please do your own research, because I don't want to mislead you, but so I really hope that I'm wrong, by the way. I don't want them to ever be a thing again. To imagine being forced to go to war. Fuck that. That's like the worst thing that could ever happen to a person. I just, I mean, that's the worst normal, quote unquote, thing that could happen to a person. You know what I mean? Like, it's so commonplace, and yet it's like, I couldn't imagine anything worse that's like everyday kind of stuff, every few years or whatever kind of stuff, pretty much constantly. Like, there will always be stuff like that going on. It blows my mind. It's hard to not think about because, like, I'm a traumatized person. I'm pretty damn sure. I mean, I don't think that my psychotic symptoms, for example, came from anything besides trauma and things trauma related, such as drugs. Frankly, yeah, I do think drugs played a role in it. That's another reason why I see myself in Sid Barrett, by the way. Like, I feel like me and him are I feel like I ended up in a very similar situation. But anyway, that's why I'm interested in war, because, well, you're interested in morbid things when your life is hard. That's like, well, not necessarily a universal truth, but it's at least a pattern that you can see a lot, you know what I mean? So, that's what that's my reason for that. I'm getting a bit fatigued, so, I don't know, I want to do more for the video. Can I talk about Roger Waters a bit? Let me tell you about him. I like him. He's my second favorite Pink Floyd member besides the obvious. Have I already talked about him? I wonder if I have. I can't really recall. I might have talked about him in a previous video, but anyway. He's a bit cute. I think that, like, when he was younger, when he was a young man, he was weird looking, but I always thought he was cute. And, like, he's mean. I think he's a bit of a mean person, actually, but, like, I like him anyway. I almost like him because he's mean, which sounds wrong, and it kind of is, but I just see myself in him, you know? He's a bit of a hard guy. He's a tough guy, kind of, but not at the same time. Like, I kind of see him as being a bit soft. Like, he's kind of oversensitive, I feel like, you know? He gets concerned about stuff, but, like, he covers it up with anger or something like that. Like, that's kind of the type of personality I see with him. And that is, like, ironically kind of cute to me. I find it cute. So that's what I think about Roger Waters. What a guy, you know? What a guy. I wish him well. I admire his like, what's it called? His, like, devotion to causes that he believes in. Like, he's always been very into that, very into, that sort of thing, you know, defending the small. But at the same time, I've always sensed hypocrisy in him that I never admired, because to me, he's a champagne socialist. He's a socialist. He declares himself to believe in socialism, but he clearly doesn't live it, because, like, he's got, like, what, $1 zillion or something? And, like, I can't hate him that much, because, like, in this day and age, compared to, like, the big rich people with, like, billions of dollars, like, actual, like, Elon Musk type people, Jeff Bezos type folks, you know, Roger Waters is just nothing. He's just a small fish. And, yeah, but, like, I don't know, I'm still critical of him, obviously. I believe in anarcho-communism. I do. And therefore, I like him as a person, but, like, I don't think that he is the best. He's not the best Roger Waters that he could be. He's not living up to his full potential. I don't believe that he ever has. Like, he's come pretty close. He's a very accomplished man. But, like, he could get better. That's all. That's all. Like, he's great, but he's not the best that he could be. So, I mean, that being said, you could easily say that about me too. I know that I could get better in a lot of ways. That's the same for anybody. None of us are perfect. But, like, anyone who exists publicly like he does should be allowed to be criticized, you know? If you want to be a public figure, you gotta be open to some criticism. And that's another thing about Raj. I feel like he wouldn't be, because of the sensitivity I detect in him, you know? His insecurities and stuff. And that's what's wrong with Roger. Um, yeah, that's his. I gotta criticize, you know. You gotta do what you gotta do, man. So I'll see you later, friends. Goodbye. Love you.